Welcome to the depths.
Hello and welcome, watching people, to another video from the Settlers' New Allies when I, Shumi, and Daranix
Hello everyone.
are going to try to show you a little bit more about the strategy of the game, and concretely we are going to talk about a military build. Daranix previously showed you how to play the game so that you have a lot of research. I like playing with a little bit more units. I like people, apparently. And therefore I will show you how to build up your army quickly and efficiently. And about the efficiency, let's go to the first point. So building army is not just having a lot of units, because the game may not end in 20 minutes. The game may go a little bit longer. And so what you need when you go for a big army is a good economy. Daranix, give it a try. Give it the definition of a good economy.
Well, first of all, you want to have a lot of residences. That goes without saying for pretty much everything. I've mentioned it in the research-based gameplay, and for military you need it too. If you have a lot of residences, you have a lot of population which carries your stuff, which can be used to produce the military units and stuff like that. After that, I would also focus on proper resource management, so that you have always enough resources to build more unit production and stuff needed for that.
All right, thank you. So I also made myself a few thoughts about that, and I came up with this one. I said, well, you should keep the number of planks, stone, engineers, and unbuilt hexes close to 0. How do you like that?
Well, if you're doing so because you wanna use everything as soon as possible so that you're efficient, that's pretty much what I'm doing all the time.
Yeah, yes, it is. That's why I said that.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it's a easy to remember one. So here you go. That's a first step from us. And just to be sure, it's a general tip. It's not something you have to do if you're rushing the army. You should have that every single time.
Yeah.
And here you see that I now finished building the wood production. I have 3 sawmills, and according to one of our previous videos where I explained the math about around the wood production and boosting, I am going to build only 3 logging camps, and I'm going to boost them. Not the sawmills, I'm going to boost the logging camps. And currently I'm still not doing anything in the direction of army, because, well, I still don't have any economy. So if the army fails, maybe even I would be able to build my army up right now. But if the army fails, I will be probably a dead person after that.
Okay.
And yes?
Yeah, just proceed.
Thanks. And this is a second hint that I wanted to give you. You need to focus on a task at hand. You can't just jump around and do everything at once. You can't start building a town hall. Well, for the town hall you need a toolmaker. You can't start building a toolmaker, quarry, research, and military all at the same time, because you will have nothing finished. So here is my general order of how I look at the tasks. I start with building out some wood, because you need it for everything, and you have a lot of stone, you don't have the wood. Then I go for some residences, as you see right here. Because there was some fish, I also went for the fish. Stone is the next one. Then I go for coal, iron, bread, and meat, in that order.
Coal,
what do you think about that?
Coal, iron, bread, and meat.
Yes, coal, iron, bread, and meat.
So furnaces and blacksmiths after that.
Well, yes, okay. Furnaces and blacksmiths are mixed between the coal and iron. You're right, I should have put steel in there. So, coal, iron, steel, bread, meat, weapons.
Yeah, that's
weapons before that.
That's because I got a little bit confused, because I know that you're not building a lot of warehouses, right? Because it's really not that needed if you make and build your economy so that every single building follows up at on each other. So your settlers only brings each material to the next building close to them. You don't need build another warehouse close by then. And therefore, if you'd built the coal mine and the iron mine and then didn't build a furnace with that, they would just bring everything down to the warehouse, which you don't want, because you'll be building these furnaces and blacksmiths close by this military production up the hill, as your engineers are just claiming that area.
Yes, but now that you have said that, it wouldn't be a horrible thing, because they would bring it all down, which, yes, takes some time, but if you have the engineers, it will just take a few seconds.
That
and
is
then
true.
bring it back again, it will take the same amount of seconds again. That's not horrible, really.
It's definitely not. Just we're trying to focus on the best practice, so that's what I just want to clear out.
That is right. If you want to be the best at it, you should have furnaces right after the first coal and iron is coming out.
Resources found.
Now, going for the third hint that I can give you, it's something that I needed a long time to learn, and I think it's actually quite tricky to understand. But the game is not a speedrun, or rushing army is not a speedrun towards having an army. It's a speedrun towards having the weapons, kind of. Because producing army out of the weapons is quite quick. You can build even 2 or 3
Training grounds.
And you will have the army in no time, thanks to Onyx. While producing the weapons, that's something that you cannot do so quickly and so reliably. You need to wait for the coal and the iron to be dug up.
That is actually true. Most of the time I myself am having some weapons stored out, actually quite a few, and I'm still not producing the army because I want to make sure that my economy is sufficient enough to, well, provide for everything, even when the army gets produced, because that eats up a lot. It eats up a lot of your population.
Yeah, in one of my recent games, I went up to even 30 weapons before I started training my first unit. And only after that I built my first unit, and by the time I had 50 units, I didn't have any more weapons in the store.
That being said, I'd like to add here that you really want to watch the scoreboard to see whether your enemies, as Shumi is doing right now by the way, to see whether your enemies were fighting already. Because as we've mentioned before, you can see 5 points in the military score on the scoreboard at yourself, your ally, or for your enemies immediately after they kill one unit. Whether it's being a bandit, an engineer, or whatever. You can see the scores and you can immediately know that they have some army and they've been active on the military side. And as soon as you know that, you wanna maybe shift this strategy a little. You wanna start producing your units as soon as possible so you can defend at least a little bit.
Yes, that is a great point. So when the score starts raising at your enemy side, you still have a few seconds to build your army. And that is the latest time you should start building some army, because then, well, he is at your door and you don't have the army.
Exactly.
Good point. And so the next point, let's say, you see I'm building here 4 mines. And how many buildings do you think, or how many furnaces and blacksmiths do you think I can feed into using those 4 mines, Onyx?
Well, unboosted or boosted?
Well, I plan to boost the coal mines only.
Okay, so as long as you're having 2 boosted coal mines, you can feed that to 2 furnaces and 4 blacksmiths. Yeah, I think so.
Well, no, actually not. It's 5 buildings. Every mine can feed into 2.5 buildings when it's boosted.
Oh. Okay.
So
there's
I
a little
only have
gap.
2 coal mines. Yes. I only have 2 coal mines, which means I can feed into 5 buildings. So I need to have only 2 furnaces. One of them doesn't even need to be boosted because I can then only build 3 blacksmiths to not hinder my production.
I see. But if you want to maximize it, I'm just thinking, right? You can boost the second furnace, build the 4th blacksmith, and from time to time stop or pause the second furnace. its production.
Where can I help?
And then you can
Alright.
also unpause the 4th blacksmith and just switch in between these. It is a lot of tasks which will be piling up on everything else you're doing. But then again, as we're trying to explain any best practice and maximum efficiency here, I think this is something that could be mentioned.
That is something that I would need to test. I never tried that, but I think the carriers will keep emptying up the furnace and then filling it up again, which will actually not give you that much of an advantage after all.
I see. Okay.
Maybe.
Well, we'll test that, but definitely so far you
Yeah.
can focus on 2 furnaces and 3 blacksmiths.
Yes, the easy math around it. Each mine can feed into 5 buildings if it's boosted,
Now,
and that means
if you
furnace and 3 blacksmiths.
if you were to expand even further, you have a lot of iron from these 2 iron mines. You don't need to worry about them. You don't need to boost them. The iron mines are just overproducing, and therefore you can also trade for more coal, and then you can focus on even more blacksmiths and furnaces.
Well, the 2 iron mines are now feeding unboosted, are also feeding into 2.5 buildings, and I only have 2 furnaces, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So the math still checks out there.
Then you will have to boost those iron mines as well. Okay.
Is there something to do?
Well,
If you buy coal, yep.
well, I see. I'm learning myself here.
That's the plan. Oh, talking about learning, how about another point?
Yeah.
So, when to attack is the question. What is your general rule of thumb when to attack the Renix?
Oh, wow. That's gonna be. That's not a good general rule. You should go for. If you're trying to focus on military, I'm not your guy. I'm.
Yes?
My mind is completely. Well, somewhere else usually. But.
Yeah.
But if I were to focus, if I was to focus on the military production and going for the military production only, I would attack as soon as having, I don't know, I'm not even sure if I was to base it on a certain amount of units. I just want to have at least a tower behind me, at least one layer of defense. So as soon as I've got some units, I don't know, 30 to 40, 50 even, and I have at least a tower behind me, I would go for it.
Okay. Yeah, I of course wrote myself some general rule. Because I was thinking, well, if you have 10 archers, you can already break through any camp as long as there's no lieutenant.
Yeah.
You can just poke the archers out, hit and run tactics.
Yeah.
Kill some archers, return, kill another archer, return, and so you'll get through it.
Yeah.
But
Basic, I
that
think.
is, yes, but that is not a good idea to attack at that point, because if someone rushes army and doesn't go for a stable economy, they will actually have a bigger army than you have at this point. Because they rushed army, they didn't care about the economy.
That
they
is true.
can have more army. And so what I like to do instead is wait for 50 units, because that's the point where you have your stable army production, and the person who didn't go for so much economy and maybe didn't even boost some of the buildings, some of the army production, they will struggle getting to 50 units as quickly as you do.
That is absolutely true.
And also with the 50 units, you can just send them in, forget about them. They will clear the bandit camp of 15 units, which is mostly on this map or on any map. So you can. They are just easy to use. 50 units are easy to use.
I agree.
Yeah, and they will also destroy a tower if there is a tower in their way. But don't attack a tower right away.
There is a general, there's a somewhat, I would maybe call it a dispute in between the aims or directions in which the players are going. I think there's a group of players who likes to have some defenses, some layer of defenses in behind their backs, which is me. And then there are players who focus on the aggression, who would like who like to have the map control as soon as possible. But the map control is not that fast. You have they also want to have the economy in behind them. That would be Shumi.
Yes. All right. So in the game currently, looking at the game, I have my economy at the bottom. You see, I'm already almost finishing up the army production right here. I have my 2 blacksmiths. I will build a 3rd one in a short manner. I actually think I placed it. No, I didn't place it yet. I have meat production. I have bread production. The coal mines are boosted. I have pretty much everything set up to have a very nice military production. You see, I built my 3rd blacksmith right there, and I hope I don't place a 4th one. Did I remember to destroy that one? I may remember to destroy that one. That is a mistake.
Well,
Past Shumi, that is a mistake.
rather than the 4th blacksmith do, watching people know what Shumi should have built. That's it. He's already going for it. He should have built more residences.
Yeah, don't worry. The residences will come up. Due to the amount of games I've played already, I know that even though I have 0 carriers, it's a soft 0.
Exactly.
They are still all working. It's not that bad.
Yeah, since there might be some viewers who didn't watch our previous videos, what is a soft 0 and a hard 0? There's an area in the UI on top of your screens with a blinking red 0. And that suggests you. Oh, you've remembered. You've destroyed the 4th blacksmith. Nice. It suggests to you that you actually are in a position where you have no free carriers. You can get into this position in a scenario where you have almost, I don't know, maybe let's say 80 working people at the logging camps, blacksmiths, and everyone else, and together with that, you only have like 20 carriers combined. That would be a horrific, absolutely fatal situation, because in order for you to be able to produce some army and to have your economy working efficiently, you need the logistics behind it, right? So you need as many carriers as possible, and you always have to have, or want to have, at least as many carriers as you have workers. And that's the soft 0, right? If you have, and this is almost the exact same situation, Shumi just showed that. He has 61 working people and 55 carriers combined to that. That is almost the same number, and therefore he knows he's close to having some free idle carriers, which he will be able to use for some military production. Excuse me.
Yeah, tongue twisters today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but also important to say, as long as I have 0 carriers without residences, I probably will not train any army.
Yeah, that is true.
Once I have surplus of residences, I will be fine building the recruiting the army.
Yeah, this is actually the same fact, the same tip we've mentioned with the research-focused gameplay. If you have 0 carriers, you generally don't want to start producing army, start building new buildings, new production buildings, rather than only residences for that matter. And you also, well, yeah, you need to stop what you're doing and focus on residences. That's it.
Yes, and the reason for it being is that all of your economy needs carriers. You see, I have a blacksmith which is filled right here. If I had more carriers, they would pick it up, and the blacksmith could keep working.
That is true.
And it's filled right now. It isn't working. Also, what I wanted to point out, I have 12 weapons in my warehouses, or in my blacksmith in this case. I'm not planning to building my army as quickly as you would think. I still have 0 carriers, so I will keep building the residences until I know that I have a surplus of residences for the amount of army I want to build. And that actually could be enough what I have right here.
Now, a little addition. Shumi is playing the Depths, which is a map that is very hard to rush with scouts or any early game aggression. So he knows he doesn't have to build any towers or defenses right now. But if this was another map, Durant City for example, he really should have built some defenses, or should have at least considered doing so. Because that map is rushable by scouts, and at this minute, he's at 19th minute, he could have already been rushed by the enemy, and he wouldn't be able to defend himself at this stage.
That is true.
So you
that could have been deadly.
Yeah, you always have to consider the map layout. Then again, Shumi is checking the player scoreboard, and he sees that the enemy, both of the enemies are actually, well, their score isn't the best. So therefore he knows they didn't go for scout rushing or anything like that. They don't even have, or probably don't have, any military production at all so far.
Here's even a hint of script. You can know if your opponent is rushing you because mostly those people who are rushing don't grow their ground, their territory. So when you look at the scoreboards and someone's territory is suspiciously small, they could be going for a scout rush.
Well, I wouldn't bet everything on that though, because if I was the scout rush, I would have built everything, and I would still have at least 2 engineers claiming areas around me all the time, because I would know that I need to prepare for the scenario in which the scout rush will fail, and I would need to proceed playing, and I would need to have the territory at that point, right? So take it with grain of salt.
Grain of salt.
Yeah.
Great saying. Okay, you saw right there I placed the first order of 10 units. I had some carriers back then. I lost them probably to those 10 units, but I also have a lot of units that will a lot of carriers that will come in. And here we have a moment where I build some army. It's 30 units right here, and with some hit and run tactics I will clear the first bandit camp and move through the middle to my opponents.
So while you do that, I will have a question for you. Do you have a general order with which you focus on the unit building? Do you focus on building the defenders only at the beginning, or was it a coincidence?
I'm switching it up here and then, so I can't tell. I started building way more defenders than I built at the beginning.
Okay.
Lately, at least.
Yeah.
So once you have an army, like I do, it's important for me to not lose an advantage. I know that I have an advantage right now. Well, I hope I have an advantage right now because 30 units at 27th minute and a good production of units also is quite difficult to have at that quick time in a game. So it's important for me to not lose the advantage. And to do that, first of all, I will not rush into any bandit camps or towers that I will see on my way. I generally don't want to kill my army that quickly. Not even hurting one player or even both players is worth it to lose this army. But also, I will keep some of my engineers building up the residences because I need people for more army. I still want more army. More army is always better. I want army. Yes. Another good idea to have more people, more free, not engineers, carriers, is to get to research, do the civil research, and get yourself the pull cards research, the third from the top. There's a pull card research, and also there are researchers for health and damage, which will allow you to clear your opponents or the bandits camps a bit safer and quicker.
Yep, all good points. I was actually about to ask you when and if you're building research with this early military focused gameplay.
I specifically did not do that in this game, just to keep it clean and military based. But yes, I would have created some research before that.
So this gameplay you saw is a little bit simplified, but let's talk a little bit. If it was you going all in together with the research, how far regarding the research would you be when you're going out with these 30 to 50 units at the beginning?
I would probably start the first or finish the first research.
Okay.
I wouldn't be that far.
Okay.
But I would be doing it quickly.
So that's some sort of a benchmark for you, something you can compare to.
And then, well, my opponents, enemies and opponents in one word, almost, didn't do anything against me coming in. So I had free roaming range here. But if they had done something, if they have placed some towers, and I knew that I couldn't get just through those towers, not losing anything. What I would have done is I would have just keep my army outside of the tower range. I would just keep looking what they are doing, and I would focus on more research, more residences, more training grounds, because if I lose the army, I need to rebuild an army, more training grounds, and maybe go for training via harbor. Not necessarily in this game. They didn't do anything against me.
Right, as this game is coming to an end, I would love you guys to check our community, which will be linked down below. You can join us, participate in our events like weekly 4v4s, which are actually being more and more liked by the community because we've developed some extra rules which make it even more exciting. You can also give us a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And we really appreciate you watching these videos. We enjoy doing them. We hope it's helpful for you to see them. And yeah, see ya.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And see you on the battleground where you have the same army I have. That would be a great game, I bet. Bye.